Lord bless you and keep you.
I'm Demetrius Liggins, the proud superintendent of Greenville ISD, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Hopefully you will learn something new and be able to go back and share all the great things and the many amazing things our teachers and staff and students are doing to make our district what it is today. So I wanted to just take some time to share some facts, have an opportunity for everyone just to learn about the story, where we've been, where we're going, and just hear about the amazing things that are happening in our district. We'll start out by talking about some initiatives that we've implemented this school year that we're really excited about. One of which is the Forever Aligned initiative. The Forever Aligned is our partnership with the Texas A&M University of Commerce. It's an opportunity that gives 100% of our students a pathway to attend Texas A&M University of Commerce. This was something that when I initially came in as superintendent, I realized that we have so many students that were more than capable to do amazing things, and we have a university right in our backyard, literally, that a lot of students were not going to for a variety of reasons. Some were choosing it, and some were not choosing it because it was so close to us. And so we met with the university president, with two of their staff members, and I was bold enough to say I want 100% of my kids to be able to come to your school. And so what can we do about that? And we were in negotiations for a few months and ultimately came out with a plan that 100% of our kids, should they so choose, have a pathway to where they can attend a four-year university, and that four-year university could be Texas A&M University of Commerce. So we're really excited about that, and it starts with this year's seniors, actually. So there's opportunity, there's partnerships where they're getting free admissions to games throughout the year, they're taking field trips and a variety of things in order to prepare them then to make that the first choice of any GISD graduate. Additionally, we have Growing Up Bilingual. This is something that started this year as well. This is an opportunity for our students it started with this year's kindergarten students. This is something unique in the fact that this was done a few years ago. My understanding was it was done at that time. It was an entire elementary grade level, and did not necessarily go as well as had been planned, because it started with students that had not been bilingual throughout their careers, throughout their academic career. This year it starts with kindergarten students as they matriculate through the system. So we have a set of native English-speaking students and a set of native Spanish-speaking students that work together in kindergarten. They learn from each other, and they learn in both languages. And as they matriculate throughout the system, they will learn content in both English and in Spanish. It's been a very popular program. In fact, there was a waiting list for students to actually be involved. And so parents are really excited about that as well. Then we also have our STEM, which is our science, technology, engineering, and math program. This is another great program that we partner with a lot of our community in order to make sure that this is an initiative that is implemented throughout our curriculum. Many people think that it is an elementary program only, although we do have an elementary STEM school. It is a program that actually goes K-12. There's an opportunity for students who have a mindset that is STEM-oriented, students that are predisposed or very interested in science and math and the engineering process and technology. And basically what it is, it's a project-based program that allows opportunities for students to learn through the engineering process, using the design process, and it also allows for multiple answers and referrals, and it refrains failure into its part of learning. So kids learn to understand that every time you try something doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be successful the first time, but that's part of the learning process in general. Another great initiative is our Career and Technical Education Program. CTE is what it's commonly referred to as. And we currently have over 73 offerings in CTE courses that children can take before they graduate. Some misconception about this is that these are for kids that aren't going to necessarily go to college. and that cannot be further from the truth. This is actually, it is a program for kids that may choose that college is not their career path. If that is the choice that a student makes, they can very well go through and get an industry recognized certification while still in high school and graduate high school and go into their career. And in many instances, make a whole lot more money and have a much better career than they could with a 4-year degree, depending on the field that they so choose. But you also have opportunities for students to get industry certification and go on to college and continue their degree, or continue their education, whether that be a 4-year degree or whether that be an associate's degree. And it really gives them an opportunity to do things in college that they necessarily wouldn't be able to do otherwise. I don't know about you guys, but while I was in college, I had a part-time job flipping burgers, and that was the way I made ends meet. I worked about 3 or 4 days a week and took home enough to try to eat a few burgers throughout the week. But we have certain kids that graduate and have industry certifications, such as health science, where they are pharmacy techs, for example. And those students go to college and they can work on the weekend, Saturday, and then possibly and make a whole lot more money than I did by filling people's prescriptions and things of that sort that they actually learned while still in high school. So that's another great program that we're excited about. And this year also we started Early College High School. This was a grant we wrote through the Texas Education Agency. And this is a program where students actually will take dual credit courses, meaning that they take courses through Parish Junior College as well as their Parish Junior College courses, as well as their courses through Greenville High School or New Horizons High School actually they transfer over into a 4-year degree or they transfer into their associate's degree. This is in addition to the hundreds of students that we have already just taking dual credit courses. Students have an opportunity to earn up to 24 courses regardless of whether they're in early college, high school or not. This is where these particular students that apply for this program actually will receive an associate's degree before they actually graduate high school. This is the first class of freshmen, and each year there will be a new group of freshmen that are joined that add to this cohort, and then they will continue on throughout their career in order to graduate with an associate's degree. It's also a partnership with IFI. The associate's degree is in engineering. So we're really excited about that, and that was a very competitive thing. And the unique thing about this is not our brightest and greatest and our kids with the highest GPA that scored the highest. These are kids that are at risk of not going to college, whether they're first generation because their parents have not attended college, they're on free reduced lunch. So these are kids that, if you look at statistics, they necessarily would not be your kids that would automatically go to college, and so it's geared towards them. And this past year, we're really excited to announce that academically, we scored, for the first time ever in the state of Texas, they released letter grades for each district. And there's many things about the letter grades I don't agree with. I don't think they necessarily can test what the entire child does, as we saw, the amazing talent that our students have. None of that's tested in this, but it is tested through our standardized testing. And that's the game we play with the state of Texas. And so we're proud that we earned a letter grade of a B this school year, which is extremely exciting for us. We, as you look across the state of Texas at demographics that look like Greenville, Texas, with the diversity that exists in Greenville ISD, it is rare that a district that looks like us receive a B. And so we're really excited that, although there's many flawed things about that system, we're really excited that we are competitive and work team, and our students are learning from amazing teachers that have led them to that great effort. Another thing I want to talk about really quickly, and I want to take a few moments to discuss this because I think it's important. We've had a tough financial year the past year, and I've heard several rumors, I've heard several things that I could kind of chase and say, well, I can see where that came from, or I can see where that may have started. And then there's certain things that I've heard that are just completely false, and I have no idea where they started. So I wanted to take a few moments and just go through a timeline of our financial situation and from then to present. And so starting in through December of 2016 through March of 2017, the then superintendent and then chief financial officer, CFO, resigned their positions during that time period. There was a business manager, which is the second in charge in the business office in the school district, that was promoted to the CFO position during that time period. In April of 2017, I came on as the superintendent in Greenville. In May of 2017, that CFO that had been promoted from that position left the district, and we hired an interim CFO. When I hired the interim CFO, it was intentional to find someone that had been a retired CFO, someone that had been involved in school business before, that would be a temporary spot while I searched for a permanent CFO and someone that would be committed to Greenville for the long term. Not a position you want to jump into and do very quickly, and so the interim CFO was a very logical decision to make. In June of 2017, we discovered that each month, overspending had been occurring. So basically, as you know, our budget year for that time was September through August. So in June, which is towards the end of the school year, we realized that each month we had been overspending funding each and every month. And we couldn't quite necessarily figure out where the overspending was going, although we knew more money was being spent each month than actually that was budgeted. And so the way the school system works is, if you do not pass a budget, if the board does not pass a budget before the next school year, you can't continue to spend any money. So we found ourselves in a position to where we knew that we were overspending each and every month. We couldn't find out where the overspending was happening, but we had to pass a budget in order to continue school. We had kids already in August, already in classes, ready to go. And so what we decided to do was to pass a budget to roll over essentially the budget that had been overspent, knowing that we'd have to do something later once we figured out where the overspending was in order to make sure that we had a budget that was accurate at that time. So pass the budget, continue to have school as necessary, and then September, after the budget was passed, we hired TASMA, which is the Texas Association of School Business Officials, to come in and do an audit. That audit was to really look at procedures and protocols and things that were in place for us to figure out exactly what is not in place that needs to be in place. What does administration need to do in order to make sure that we never find ourselves in that position again, to where we can't figure out where spending is going, as well as to just see what procedures need to be in place in order to make sure that we're running a very tight system and being very fiscally responsible and steward of public's money. The task force report came out. They gave us some great suggestions. They really dug in and looked at some procedural things and best practices. I'm happy to say that 100% of those things have been implemented today, and we released it publicly at the time, and I do believe it's still on our website actually. In October of 2017, we successfully hired our current chief financial officer, who's currently still employed here, and she replaced the interim CFO. We were then able to find out, continuing the work of the previous CFO, interim CFO, we determined exactly where the overspending actually had taken place. And there was three major things that we found. One was that in 2016, there had been a 3% raise given to staff. Although staff were receiving those raises each and every month, they had not actually been put into the budget. So every single month when we were seeing extra spending happening, that was because people were actually receiving the raises, however, it had not been put in. Secondly, there was a grant. There was a Texas Literacy Initiative grant, that multi-million-dollar grant that this district had applied for 5 years previously, had been awarded that grant, and that grant, although it had expired that year, the individuals that were still being paid for out of that grant, which were 11 administrative positions, as well as the grant itself, the programs, the literacy programs, and all of that was still continuing to be paid out of the general budget, although it had not been budgeted either, or had not been put into the numbers. And finally, That was also the year that the 2014 bond had been completed. And so we had buildings with thousands and thousands of extra square footage. We had new technologies in the building, we had new safety procedures, and we had a variety of different things that the bond had purchased that were absolutely necessary. However, the budget had not taken into consideration those items as well. So, as you know, it takes, more money to heat and cool thousands and thousands of extra square footage. We had licensures for technology that was necessary in order to continue having those items, as well as there were other items that were part of the grant that continues ongoing funding. So those things had not been included. So it was determined at that point that's exactly why we've had our budget had been overspent. So in November, we went back to the board and said, aha, we know where everything came from, we know where the overspending was, here's our new budget that includes every single thing that actually should have been included last year's budget, in addition to this year's budget. What often I will see people compare is the 2017 budget to that August budget from the same year, and say, well, look at all the things that were added, look at all the extras. Well, yeah, there is a lot of extra in there because it was never included in the previous year's budget, nor in that budget. Therefore, once we had figured it out, we went back and put it in the budget as appropriately as we should have. In January of 2018, in each single week, every year in the state of Texas, it's required by law that schools have outside auditors come in and audit their books and see what's happening with spending and whatnot. We had our audit in January of 2018, and the auditor confirmed, sure enough, what had been found was exactly the reason the budget had been overspent. It was those three major items. That's the reason it had occurred, and so they confirmed that, and so we're very pleased that we had taken and found the exact reason for things that had been overspent. However, in February, the board called for a forensic audit. What a forensic audit is, a forensic audit looks at any and everything within the organization. I liken it very much to having a magnifying glass that zooms in and out on different parts of the organization. It can look at personnel, it can look at your finances, it can look at procedures, it can look at a variety of things. So we had a forensic audit that lasted, from February through April. In April, the forensic audit completed, and there were two major findings from the forensic audit. One of the findings was concerns with the actions of previous administration, and the second finding that they found was the management of the bond funds. And the management of the bond funds, I want to take a few minutes and talk about that, because the headline was, Greenville ISD is using $54 million. Let me explain to you how the $54 million number came about. As if you've ever built a home, usually you hire Greenville ISD, we do not, specialize in education, not building. So we hired a contractor, an architect that designed the buildings and had everything designed, and then a contractor that actually does the building. That contractor obviously works with subcontractors and a variety of things. So the auditor basically came and asked for receipting for all of the buildings, all of the things that had been built, and all of the things that now existed in the district as a result of the bond. $54 million of which had gone to that particular contractor in order to do that. But the contractor did not have all the receipts that were necessary, that they could not produce every single receipt of all the buildings and all the things that had been built in Greenville. And so therefore, it was stated that the $54 million that had been given to the contractor was missing. However, what we do know, and I'm not sure what the AG, that investigation is still going on, but what we do know is that we do have buildings in place. We do know, we have a new CTE building at the high school. We have wings added onto all of our elementary schools. We have a new Booley Elementary. So we know that there were, that those things cost money, and those things did actually were paid for. In fact, we had the architect come in and say, yeah, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I can tell you the buildings that we designed are built to capacity that we said that they should be into the actual specificity that we said they should have. And so therefore they disputed it. But that is currently with the AG. I liken it again to if you built a home and $250,000 home, and you said, and someone came to you and said, we need your receipts for all of your lumber, all of your sinks, your doors, and you said, well, my contractor has them, and your contractor said, well, I don't have all of your receipts, I have some, and so they said, well, you're missing $250,000. Well, of course, you have a home, you're living in it, it's built well. And so, I'm not sure, that investigation is still ongoing with the AG, but that is something that I did want to take an opportunity to dispute, that $54 million is missing. In August of that same year, the school board, we presented the school board with a balanced budget, which they adopted. And if any of you were in this community during the time, you will remember we had to make some tough decisions in order to get to a balanced budget. Mind you, we had a multi-million-dollar deficit from 2016 that we had to carry over to 2017, and we ended up with a balanced budget for the 2018-2019 school year, which caused us to have to make some tough decisions. We had to lay off people from their jobs, we had to close schools, we had to get rid of different programs in order to make sure we had a balanced budget, which was a priority for the board and a priority, therefore, for administration, because we wanted to make sure that we stopped the financial situation that we were in once and for all, to make sure that we moved forward on a positive leg. And so, often out here, people say, well, why did you put raises into the budget for this year? Just automatically, why did you do that? The reason being, we were making up for 2 years of multi-million-dollar deficits. We squeezed that turnip and got as much juice out of it as we could to get a balanced budget. There was just nothing left to do it. It wasn't that we don't care about getting raises, we didn't care about the teachers or the staff. It was just an impossibility unless we did even more cutting, which would ultimately have hurt student success and hurt our district as a whole. Or if we wanted to adopt another deficit budget, which was really not an option for anyone. So also during that same year, during that same month, a few months ago, the board called for a TRE, which is a tax ratification election. Tax ratification election is a restructuring of the budget in order to take advantage of state funding. Because we had squeezed that turnip as tight as we could, the TRE, the board thought the TRE was the best option in order for us to take advantage of state funding and in order to be able to fund raises at that time. And in November of 2018, of course, is the election. Also, I want to take some time to talk about some facts and just give some information. These are, and you can't really see it very well, but these are the tax rates of many of our neighboring districts. And it goes from the very top, from Royce City, to McKinney, to Terrell, Commerce, Mesquite, Garland, Caddo Mills, Rockwall, Lawrenceville, and Greenville. As you will notice, Greenville ISD is at the bottom of that list. We're often compared to Royce City a lot, and I think mostly because we're similar in size and close in proximity. But as you will notice, Royce City has the highest tax rate that a school district can impose upon its citizens. So it's very unfair when we're often compared to Royce City and say, well, Royce City can do this, and Royce City's doing that, and Royce City also collects millions of extra dollars from their voters and from their tax base than Greenville ISD does. And so as you'll see, that's just across the board. We're at the very bottom of that list. But however, as you will notice, the beginning teacher salaries for those same school districts. And so although we are the lowest taxed, we're not the lowest in beginning teacher salary, which tells me a couple of things. First of all, it tells me that we do more with less. And secondly, it tells me that our board values teachers' salaries and making sure that we pay our teachers well. Unfortunately, we work with the money that we actually receive. Our enrollment has been very steady. We're at a very comfortable pace, we've been increasing from 2016, and that's a graph for that. However, our maintenance and operations budget, this is the budget where everything that we pay for, whether it be raises, whether it be a leaky roof, whether it be school supplies and science equipment, comes out of this budget. This tax rate, this $1.04 tax rate. That tax rate has remained the same for over 10 years. So you'll see our attendance have been going up. As you know, it's costs a lot more now to educate a child than it did 10 years ago, simply based off of the quality of education. And 10 years ago, I believe we were transitioning from TOS to TAX. And now we're on to STAR, which is a much more rigorous assessment, which means teachers are having to teach a lot more in a lot more rigorous manner. But in Greenville, Texas, we still have the exact same tax rate that we've had for over 10 years. The IMS, which is an interest in sinking tax rate, that's an additional tax rate. This is a tax rate that pays off our debt services. This rate, actually, since the bond was passed in 2014, you will notice each year as it's paid off, that tax rate continues to go down. And so the board has proven and has shown that as the debt is paid off, so does the tax rate go down. So we're really excited about that. This year, our theme is I am GISD. And our goal this year is just to rebuild pride in what we're doing, to rebuild the sense of community, to rebuild just the greatness that we are as a school district. And so we adopted the mantra, #IamGISD. And I would like to show you a little video of our kids, our teachers, our staff, and to show you what that's all about.
Think for a minute about everything that makes up Greenville ISD. It's a lot to imagine in an organization that's growing, adapting, and improving. There are the students who come to school every day, ready for a challenge.
I am a future doctor, and I am GISD.
I'm a future engineer, and I am GISD.
I'm starting college early.
I am kindergarten ready. I want to be a vet.
I am a future airman.
I am nice to my friend.
I am a proud cadet, and I am GISD.
There are the athletic programs that inspire us to push our bodies and our minds to be better, faster, and stronger.
I am a lifelong coach. I am GISD.
I am an athlete.
I am a lady lion, and I am GISD.
There are the artistic classes that spark creativity and imagination.
I am a future rock star. I am an artist, and I am GISD.
There are the staff members who make everything run smoothly, safely, and on time.
I love driving a bus.
I keep kids safe.
I'm shaping the future.
I get kids to school on time.
I provide nutritious meals.
I am where the rubber meets the road, and I am GISD.
And of course, there are the talented and dedicated teachers who pour their hearts and souls into the classroom.
I am a teacher, and I am GISD. I am a 6th grade counselor, and I am GISD.
Yo soy una maestra de español.
I love to sing and dance in the hallways.
Proud graduate of Greenville and Texas A&M Commerce.
I love to take my students on incredible journeys.
I'm going to be a mom for the first time in September.
I love helping others.
I am persistent, and I am GISD.
You're talking to a homegrown Greenville girl in Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2005.
This is my heart. I am GISD.
But when we imagine Greenville ISD, maybe, just maybe, we should think bigger.
I am a family medicine physician, and I am GISD.
I am a musician. I am a dancer.
I am the mom of triplets, a program manager at L3, and I am GISD.
The truth of the matter is, Greenville ISD is about a lot more than what happens inside the walls of our schools and offices.
I am a naval intelligence officer, and I am GISD.
I am a funeral director.
I am a comedian.
What we do reverberates through the world in a way that no other field can match.
I am a community mentor. I am a parent.
I love my kids, and I am GISD.
So when you think of GISD, yes, think of the great teaching that happens every day in our classrooms. Think of our award-winning programs. Think of the amazing things we're doing here and now. But even more importantly, think of what that means for years down the road.
I'm an offensive tackle for the Green Bay Packers, and I am GISD.
You make a difference in the lives of young people, and those young people make a difference for generations to come. It all starts with you.
But in closing, I would just simply like to say that go out and share the great things that our school district are doing. There's enough negativity and misconceptions out there, and a lot of people that are not sharing all the amazing things our teachers and staff are doing each and every day. And so it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we take the time to share that. I will tell you, and I shared this with a group of community members earlier, and a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about my vision for Greenville ISD. And I've always adopted the mantra that, if people don't laugh at your dreams, they're probably not big enough. And Greenville is on the cusp of greatness, is on the cusp of coming into something much bigger than anything we've ever experienced. And I liken us, and I would very much like for our school district to be very much like, and I hate to call it another district name, but very much like Frisco ISD. People move to Frisco ISD, or to Frisco because of Frisco ISD. They will travel and commute an hour and a half to work so that their kids can attend Frisco ISD. There's no reason Greenville ISD cannot be that same destination district. And I will tell you, we're putting things into place that will make absolutely sure that we continue to grow academically. We continue to offer things to students that they cannot get anywhere else. And we continue to make sure that the best educational experience you can have right here in our town of Greenville and not have to go anywhere else in order to get that. That takes leadership, that takes courageous leadership, that takes making tough decisions, that takes doing things that you don't necessarily want to do but absolutely need to do. And so that being said, I just want to thank the school board again for their courageous leadership. This is a group of volunteers that no matter what decision they make, someone's going to have a problem with it. And yet they still come in and they make the decisions that they know are best for our kids. They have 100% of the information and they make the best decisions, and they can always share why they're having to make the decisions they're having to make. But I can assure they make the decision that's what's best for kids and what's best for the long term in our district, and to make sure that we are getting to the point to where we want to be. And again, thank you so much for your support of our kids, of our teachers, of our schools. I'm excited about what's to come. I'm excited about what is. And I can assure you that if you have a child, a grandchild, a niece or nephew in Greenville ISD, we're doing our best to take great care of them and to make absolutely sure that they leave and have every opportunity that someone else would have in any other part of Texas would have, if not more. Again, thank you for your time. I am available should you have any questions afterwards, but thank you for coming.
Welcome back to Juice 34. I'm your host, Christopher Manguel. We're here with Byron Taylor, the president of the Greenville Chamber. How you doing, Byron?
Good morning.
So tell us about this great event, how it came together.
Well, back in the summer, the GISD State of the District came about with the executive order deciding that because the school district is so large that we needed to give them the floor to talk about all the great things that go into such a large district.
Okay. So it was a great turnout today, and then also it was a lot of chamber members, but those who are not, how do they become chamber members and be a part of that family?
To become a chamber member, all you need to do is get in touch with Keith Burns at the Greenville Chamber of Commerce office, or you can also sign up online at greenvillechamber.com.
So very last question, Byron. What are some of the upcoming events for the chamber?
We are going to Cuba in May of 2019. We're going to do a chamber travel trip. We're going to head from Fort Lauderdale, Florida to Cuba, and we'd like for you to sign up with that through Travel Dreams with Shannon Ruth.
Byron, I appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank you so much.